Go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the third installment of Cooking with Jim. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Jim DG. About 40 years, I've been a police officer for 35 years. And the only reason I'm saying that is I know everybody who originally sent out this to was friends, but since last week, and I want to thank you all, you shared my video with your friends, so I've been adding more friends to my Facebook post, and I want to let you know that we had over 250 views of this last week, and with everybody sharing it, it went up to over 1,000. So some people must like it because I just got off the phone with a good friend of mine and walked him through chicken piccata. And let's see, a lot of friends of mine have been making the dishes that we made last week and sending me pictures, and that's great. This is what it's all about, giving some people some encouragement to start cooking that never cooked before. Some of the feedback I got was that I cook too fast, so I'm going to try to slow it down tonight. First of all, I already have my oven set at 350. I'm going to boost it up to 375 so it's nice and hot. And the first thing I'm going to do is make the meatballs because they're going to go in the oven. And then we'll start on the gravy. And I've had a long discussion with many people over the past week on between sauce and gravy, especially my brother last night. John, if you're watching, how are you? I don't know where it came from. No one knows. I've been trying to Google it for a week of what the difference is between sauce and gravy. It's all how you were brought up. I was brought up by my mother calling it gravy all my life. My grandparents came to this country in the early 40s, spoke nothing but Italian. My parents were born here, but so they came actually in the 30s. My parents were born here. They spoke fluent Italian, and I missed that because once my grandparents and my parents passed away, we didn't speak Italian around the house. When I was a little boy, I remembered that I could understand Italian, I could understand what the conversations were, but I really miss that type of connection with my grandparents and my parents. So we're going to start with the meatballs. So what I have in this pan here is I have a pound of ground beef and a pound of ground pork. So I use pork and beef in the meatballs. And again, I'm going to try to go slower than I normally do. I add some chopped garlic into the meatballs. And someone asked me via a text the other day is, why would you, because I put the recipe ingredients online last week, and they said, why would you have eggs for a spaghetti sauce? Well, the eggs go in the meatballs. So I have 2 eggs. Minus the shells. So far we have ground beef, ground pork, 2 eggs, and some garlic. We're going to use a little bit of grated cheese. This is Parmesan. As you know, on my pasta, I've been telling you that I like Reggiano. Not Parmesan, I like, I can't remember what it is, but a little bit of garlic salt. Another big hit was the wife's salt and pepper shakers last week. These are Wolfgang Puck salt and pepper shakers, battery operated salt and pepper shakers. 4 people had to find, they asked where we bought them. So a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And if you go on QVC, you can buy these. They're great. I use the 4C seasoned breadcrumbs. So as I said, so far we have beef, pork, grated cheese, eggs, salt and pepper, and some garlic. Now a little bit of breadcrumbs. And I apologize, I've never measured anything in my life, so I do everything by feel. So that was about a half a cup of seasoned breadcrumbs. And another thing I add to my meatballs, and some people say that's weird, but is a little bit of ketchup. It gives it a little bit of moisture, just a little, and just a little bit of oregano. So now we get your hands dirty. And I can go by the feel if there's enough stuff, and then if it's not, I'll add a little bit more. If it's too too wet, I'll add some more breadcrumbs. If it's too dry, I'll add some more ketchup or maybe another egg. But you want to mix it up really good. Get all the ingredients to meld together. Some people like to use a mixer. I don't. I like to use my hands because I can tell the consistency. Now I can tell just by that alone that it's a perfect mix. Not too dry, not too wet. These meatballs are going to stay together nice. And these are probably around, I would say, a 3-ounce meatball. So I'd roll them up. Take a tin, place them in the tin. Now my mother used to make them in a skillet, a cast iron skillet, and she used to fry them. And I remember those days when I was a kid with her frying the meatballs on Sunday mornings, listening to the Italian music. But I like to make them this way because I can do it and it's pretty quick. If you stand over a frying pan, it probably takes a good hour to fry all the meatballs up. You'll see how quick this is gonna go. And this is gonna make a lot of meatballs. So, just to recap what we have in here, we have pork, beef, breadcrumbs, garlic, a little bit of oregano, some ketchup, a little bit of garlic salt, salt and pepper, and breadcrumbs. And don't forget the eggs. Like I said, the eggs bind them together. And you can tell after you've been doing it a long time the size. They'll all be much the same size. I like to throw a big one in there every once in a while for me. So we're going to use 3 cans. It's going to be 1 pound 12-ounce cans, and I like the Pastene Kitchen Ready. I've already taken the tomatoes out of the cans and put them in here, and I'll show you why later on. And I use about a half a cup of water. So I'm going to fill this pan up. I'm probably going to get, let's see, probably 12 to 15 meatballs in here. Probably 15, maybe 12. We got 9, 10. And you don't want to crowd the pan afterwards, so 11. If I have a little bit of meat left over, I'll throw it in the oven. I'll make a small little meatloaf sandwich for myself, or I'll make a burger out of it. Same thing, there's 12. I can get one, and there's that one good one I was telling you about. Get all the sides, get all the beef. So we made 13. Few people commented. They also like the faucet. It's no touch faucet. Works well. Clean your hands. You don't have to change your gloves every time you use them. You can wash your gloves and then just shut it off. Grab a little paper towel. Now, for the women out there who are watching, you have to tell your husband to get one of these. This is the best tool in the kitchen, right here. I'm going to fill this pan up right above the top of the line with the meatballs with water. Okay, great thing. And we're going to throw these in the oven. 375 for about 20-25 minutes. And the meatballs are basically done. So in our pot, we're going to start off with a little bit of olive oil. Okay. Some people who make sauce would put garlic in here right now, but what I like to do is I like to fry my meat first. If you put the garlic in there, the garlic will burn. So turn it on, start to get it nice and hot. These are the St. Louis style spare ribs. I've already taken the liner off. I'll use about a half a rib. So we'll get about 2, 4, 6 good spare ribs in there. And then just lay them in the pan, and we'll start to brown these. So we have our pan, and my buddy Mike will show you that while I clean up my station here real quick. I have a whole drawer full of cutting boards, but I like this one because it's nice and big. So next, as the spare ribs are starting to cook, Italian sweet sausages. We got 5 of them. We'll throw them in here. So this is the beginning of our spaghetti sauce, or our gravy as we call it. We're going to fry the pork and the sausages, get a good brown on them. Keep a lot of these tin pans around. They're nice and easy to use. They're easy to clean up. So once the meat's cooked, throw it in here for a little while. What I'm going to do with these is, I don't know if anybody's ever tried these. If you like spare ribs, take the spare rib, cut them down like this, and then make a really strong flour and all types of seasonings. And then dredge the spare ribs. What I would do is I'd soak the spare ribs in maybe either buttermilk or some heavy cream for about a couple of hours. Then get some really nice flour. Dredge the spare ribs in the flour and fry them. If you never had fried spare ribs, you don't know what you're missing. Then you could take a little bit of Asian sauce, or we just like them plain like that. You can hear the meat sizzling away. Another little trick of the trade. A lot of people put tongs in their drawer here, and they usually make a mess. So we buy these hair bands. We give a bunch of brand new hair bands, and just wrap the tong around the hair band. Instead of putting that in the drawer like that, wrap it up in a hair band. You can see it's got a nice sear on that. You want to get all 4 sides. Sausages, ribs. A little hot. Turn it down a little. As I told you before, my mother was a fantastic cook. And my sister takes after my mother. She's a great cook too, so I'm sure she's not watching my show, but she is. But it's fun. We cook around the holidays together, me and my sister, and it's like 2 cats and dogs in the room because we both love to cook, and we have difference of opinions on a few things, but it's fun. On Christmas Eve, we do the 7 fishes. So we do spaghetti, a lobster gravy, which is live lobsters you cook in a spaghetti sauce. We do fried shrimp, baked stuffed shrimp, stuffed calamari. We try to get all the 7 fishes. I do clams casino, raw clams, raw oysters. It's quite an evening. And they say that a lot of Italians like to eat in their garage. Well, we're no different. I have a big 2-car garage downstairs. It's heated, and we set up tables and chairs down there, and we feed about 40 people on Christmas Eve, every Christmas Eve. All the family comes over, and it's a lot of fun. It's my favorite night of the year. And then we can maybe make a couple of those menus also. This is getting to the point where it's almost done. You don't really have to cook it right through because it's going to cook in the sauce for hours. And like I said, the reason why I'm doing this today on a Thursday is because I won't eat this sauce tonight. This sauce is better either tomorrow or Saturday. Once it sits, and then throw it back on the stove for another hour or so, that's where you get all the flavors, and that's where these ribs will fall off the bone. So my meat's fried, my meatballs are cooking, my oil's nice and hot, and if you see in the bottom of this, all the small little scrapes of beef, pork, and sausage, that's where all the flavor is. So what I'm going to do now is where I'm going to add some garlic. Nice heaping garlic. And Pastene tomato paste. Another little trick is when you do the tomato paste, for years I used to just open one side and scoop it out. If you take a can opener and open both sides, you can take the bottom off like this, and then your whole tomato paste comes out of the can, and the can's nice and clean. Just a little trick of the trade. So now I have my garlic, my oil, and my tomato paste cooking. I'll cook down the tomato paste for a couple of minutes. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to switch to a spoon. So in the pot, we have tomato paste, garlic, oil, and it's going to fry it down nice. And here's another little trick that I use. Not too many people do it, but I do, is I add, at this stage, some brown sugar in the pan. What the brown sugar does, it neutralizes the acid in the tomatoes, and it makes your sauce just a little bit sweet. So that was about a good fistful of brown sugar. And here I'm going to add just a little bit of wine. Any type of red wine will do. You see that? So this is the base of my spaghetti sauce, or my gravy. Get it down, let that tomato paste fry really good. All those little bits of meat are off the bottom now because of the wine. You want to cook the alcohol out of the wine. And right now we're just in a holding pattern, letting this cook. In this pan here, I have 3 cans of the Pastene Kitchen Ready tomatoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of basil. It's about a little over a tablespoon. A little bit of fresh parsley. A little bit of oregano. And a little bit of garlic salt. I would say about a tablespoon of each. I'm all done with the ketchup for now. Okay, that's frying up really nice. And what I did here is I have about 3/4 of a can of water. I use it for my spoon right now, but I'm going to add that water to the gravy once I put the tomatoes in. Not yet there, almost. A couple of seconds more. Yeah, we're pretty good to go. Then we add all that tomato. Give it a good stir. Get everything in there. Now some people like chunky gravy or sauce. I don't. So I'm going to let this come up to temperature for a minute. And then what I have is I have what's called an immersion blender. This is my immersion blender. And what I'll do is I'll put this in the sauce and I'll get it nice and silky smooth, I'm going to add my water. Bring this up to a little bit temperature, a little higher. And as you can see, there's no heavy lifting here whatsoever. Check out the meatballs. Oh, they come out nice. So I'm pretty much done with all this other stuff here for now. I'll put this stuff away. Look at the meatballs. See how the meatballs are doing? As you can see, they're starting to crust up a little on the top. All that water that's in there, it makes the meatball nice and moist. That's going to go for another 20 minutes or so. So, about now is when I want to hit this with the immersion blender. As you can see, it has a couple of blades. Very easy cleanup. Just take that off. Bring this over to the sink. And give that a rinse in a few minutes. Now the sauce, the gravy is really coming along nice. You can see we had a lot of oil in there before, but all the oil is kind of blended into the sauce now because of the immersion blender. So now, take a nice clean set of tongs. And we start layering all the meats and sausages back into the sauce. And as I said before, this is not a meal that we're going to eat tonight. This is a meal that would be great for tomorrow night or Saturday night. I actually like to do it like 2 days in advance. But I'm going to let this cook for probably 2 hours tonight. Get all those nice juices from the meat. Me and my brother had a little argument last night. He thinks it's called gravy because there's meat in the gravy. I went online and looked that up, and that's just another one of those fallacies that we don't know why it's called gravy, but that's the way I've been calling it all my life, so that's what I'm going to continue to do. So we'll just clean up our mess, and as you can see, everything's pretty well cleaned up. Add a little bit more salt and pepper. Hold on a second, I'm going to shut the Roomba off. It starts up. All this technology, we have one of these Roombas that goes around the house and vacuums it. I don't know. So, as you can see, come on over. Starting to get a nice little bubble in there. The meat will be fall off the bone tender. As I said, the only thing left I have to do now is I have to take the meatballs in probably 15 minutes, layer them into the sauce, and then let this go. I'll put it on a simmer for a couple of hours, and then I don't leave it in the aluminum pan. I take it out of the aluminum pan and I'll put it into a plastic container. And then tomorrow, if I'm going to make it tomorrow, put it back in the aluminum pan and then get it on the stove at a nice low heat and just let it simmer for a couple more hours. Next week we'll try some homemade pasta. We can do ravioli, we can do gnocchi. One of the weeks I'm going to do is I do a lot of garnishes for my platters that I make. I make all kinds of vegetable animals and fruit animals, and I'll show you how to do those. Very easy. I'll send out the shopping list. We'll need some honeydew melons, we'll need some pears, we need some carrots, red cabbage, some cucumbers, peppers, and we'll make some of those. So really, we're basically done with this until the meatballs go in and it simmers. So it took us 15 minutes, 20 minutes to make a spaghetti sauce or a gravy. And I'll tell you, tomorrow, or when you eat it, this spare rib right here will be just like you had a smoked rib. It'll fall right off the bone. I also, when I make it for myself, I use, we call it godiga, but it's a pig skin. And I can make pig skin brajol, which is you roll it out, you add some cheese, parsley, garlic, you roll it up and you tie it up with string and put it into your sauce. And that's like butter, it just melts. Or we can do brajol, which is beef. You take some beef and flatten it out very, very thin. Same ingredients, a little bit of breadcrumbs, garlic, parsley, cheese. Roll it up, tie it up with a string, put it right into your gravy, and that'll be like butter. There's so many different things you can put in your sauce. Some people just make a marinara sauce, which is just a plain sauce. I'd rather eat the meat than the sauce myself. So, you know, I love the spare ribs, I love the meatballs. I guess we're done for today. So if you like what I'm doing, please text me, say you like it, and I'll keep doing it. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'd like to remind you that your police officers, your firefighters, your health department, your food servers, your nurses, they're all out there working for you. It's a tough time right now. I've been in policing for 35 years. I've never seen anything like it. We've changed the way we're doing policing because of it. We used to be totally a reactive department, a proactive department. Now we have to be a reactive department based upon the fact that everything we're doing is either by telephone or by email. We're not adhering to the concepts of community policing like we used to because of the social distancing. But that's what's going to keep you safe. Keep doing it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and until next week, thank you. Bye-bye.